repair job to get that car ready for the qualifying session.
Oh, and he had the traffic just in front of him. That's probably what put him off. And yes, exactly. So he hit the barrier on the way in. We've seen that happen before. And I think he was just put off by having a car so close to him around the swimming pool section. He was flying around, and there was not much the Renault driver could have done.
We've seen cars
just a
hit
bit too
that
much.
barrier, but that's just taking too many liberties. And once
Snaps
you've done
the steering arm.
yeah, you've got no control, really, have you?
No, he was never going to make that left-hand turn with a snap steering arm. And there is that big yellow curve just for good measure. The car takes off, and he's just a passenger.
Oh, look how fast Sainz came up on Verstappen, and then look how quickly things developed. Oh, someone's hit the barrier. It's Max Verstappen, right in front of our commentary box here on the approach to Rascasse. Max Verstappen, one of the favourites for pole position later on this afternoon, has absolutely clobbered the Armco, and he's given his team a massive repair job to get that car ready for the qualifying session.
Oh, and he had the traffic just in front of him. That's probably what put him off. And yes, exactly. So he hit the barrier on the way in. We've seen that happen before. And I think he was just put off by having a car so close to him around the swimming pool section. He was flying around, and there was not much the Renault driver could have done.
We've seen cars
just a
hit
bit too
that
much.
barrier, but that's just taking too many liberties. And once you've
Snaps
done
the steering arm.
yeah, you've got no control, really, have you?
No, he was never going to make that left-hand turn with a snap steering arm. And there is that big yellow curve just for good measure. The car takes off, and he's just a passenger.
Oh, look how fast Sainz came up on Verstappen, and then look how quickly things developed.
Only hours before qualifying starts, Brendon Hartley wrote off the rear of his Toro Rosso and his chances of starting qualifying in practice 3 in Barcelona. As the car snapped in two on the crane, it was heartbreak for the team, who'd risen to...
Great start there by Verstappen, brilliant brilliant defence from Valtteri Bottas.
Bottas got his elbows out, he had to, and eventually Verstappen
and there's a massive crash with Brendon Hartley, and he's got tangled up with Lance Stroll. And coming out of that chicane, Hartley got squeezed up against the fence, but Williams, an innocent bystander in that.
I'm a little bit surprised Brendon was out there, to be honest, but not as surprised as Lance Stroll was, clearly.
There is a packed grandstand of Lance Stroll supporters down at the hairpin, and the local hero didn't even get the chance to race past them.
Stroll got some oversteer in the middle of the corner, the back end stepped out, he had to countersteer, he had to turn into the slide, just like you do on an icy road, and that took him into the path of Brendon Hartley. Hartley pushing his luck on the outside of turn.
He's gone off. And a big crash there for the Toro Rosso. Now, what happened here?
Something definitely broke on the car.
Red flag, session stopped. Brendon Hartley going into the barriers at some speed, and an anxious look on the face of his team principal, Franz Tost. The three marshals very, very quickly on the scene.
Brendon, are you okay?
Yep, suspension failure.
Confirming there, Anthony, your first reaction, something broke on the car.
Yeah. Oh, it's a front left that failed in a big way as soon as he hit the brakes.
Yeah. I've not seen something like that since your Toyota teammate Sebastian Buemi
in China.
China in Shanghai, when both front
That's
wheels
the
came off.
Upright failing, isn't it? On the brakes. As soon as he's hit the brake pedal, that's it's literally ripped the the brake and upright from the car.
And I tell you what,
lucky
very
not to go
lucky
over
indeed.
Into that barrier.
That car.
But that's what the halo's for, of course.
It started to dig into the gravel. You'll see as it goes on board, nothing now Hartley can do about it, and lucky that it didn't flip over.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, I think you have to agree that's why we have the halo.
So the impact would have been severe enough, Ant, to register the lights in the cockpit, where the medical car immediately gets dispatched to go and make sure the driver's okay. So as you can see, okay, and walking towards the medical centre there. That's a big crash as well, and that's the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson. Red flagged the session. Session suspended. And Paul, there was absolutely nothing he could do. The car just went on under braking, just stepped out from underneath him.
When you have spectacular ones like that, the energy's dissipated over a long distance with all the bits and pieces flying off as well. It's not the sudden stop. They're the ones that really hurt. So whilst it looks spectacular, as long as nothing comes into the cockpit to get you.
The mechanics are looking at the DRS on Leclerc's car. I think we could be looking at a DRS failure. The rear wing flap has not reattached, has not gone down as it should do as soon as Ericsson touched the brake.
You okay? No idea what happened there.
And it's lights out, and away we go here at Spa. Hamilton gets away well, Perez as well, covering his teammate. Hamilton moves over to cover on Sebastian Vettel, and there's locking up in a crash, and Fernando Alonso goes over the top there of Charles Leclerc's Sauber. Also involved Nico Hulkenberg in the Renault.
Okay.
He got hit from behind by Hulkenberg, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He gets a thump now, and spun around and cleared. Look at this mess that's made of the side of that McLaren. So what we're about to see is Hulkenberg get too deep on the brakes, locked up, and boom.
Wow, just could not stop in time. Nico Hulkenberg going straight into the rear of Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc suddenly sees orange across his visor, and Fernando Alonso out. Charles Leclerc losing his rear wing as well. And we can see now what it looked like from on board with Charles Leclerc. He wouldn't have known what was coming. He did now.
You can see all the water out of the radiator of the McLaren. That's poor driving going into them. And they all know the challenges of La Source on the first lap.
Just looking as well to see what happened with Kimi Raikkonen.
Probably a separate, if it would be
was the
against
red